Todd for G66. Welcome to another Tuesday Tone Tip. On today's video, we're on firmware 27 for the Axe FX3, which has just been released. There are numerous improvements, updates, and new features in this firmware, but on today's video, I just want to show you some of my personal highlights. I'll be sharing this preset with all of you so you can try them out as well. Just check the video description as well as links to my free IR and my blocks library. Before we get started, I've got a PRS DGT plugged straight into the Axe FX3. As always, you are going to be hearing the DI output with no post-processing. I've got the band commander dialed up with my free cab IR and a little bit of the large room reverb at the moment. Let's just have a listen to that to start. Sounding beautiful. There have been some amp modeling updates and improvements in here that essentially change the amps in some pretty subtle ways, but if you're really into your edge of breakup tones, let's say you enjoy the Texas Star lead setup, I think you'll really enjoy how these ones sound and feel under your fingers, as well as the way they clean up with the guitar volume control. Let's hear this one at the moment. I'm going to use my volume and tone controls just to get a really nice edge of breakup tone and then bring it down to a sparkling clean. I'm particularly fond of the Marshall style amps on this update. The Brit 800 2203 with the settings you can see on there just makes a great rock and roll tone. And one thing that you'll notice is the interaction between the drive pedals and amp models feels a whole lot better to my ears and underneath my fingers anyway. Say taking the Brit 800 2203 high, boosting it with the Super OD. This is an absolute classic for hard rock and metal. That's a great way to run a single amp on here, kind of the way I would run a single channel amp in the real world, where I would set it up for a nice crunch. I'd boost it with a drive pedal like a Super Overdrive, which is modeled right here in the Super OD, and then I'd use my guitar volume control to clean the tone up for a cleaner tone on there. So we'll get to some more with the amps, including the new FAS Stealth Blue, which I think sounds amazing. But I'm going to go back to the band commander on here. One really fun feature in here is the addition of the envelope filter in the amp block. Now, we looked at some tips with this one for Neutron tones on a previous Tuesday tone tip, but there's some extra additions on here. So the sensitivity control, instead of going from 1 and then scaling, it starts at 5 and you can turn that up or down. So I've set it at around 7. You can still set the detector source on there, but now there is a mix control and an emphasis control on there. This one is just amazing for funky tones, and this sounds even more silky and quacky. There's so much scope for creative effects using the envelope filter or the auto wah in conjunction with time-based effects on there, but I want to move on to my personal highlight on this firmware. Out of all the highlights, it's the FAS Stealth Blue amp model. This is massive yet tight sounding. I've been using this in my main gigging preset, the last bunch of gigs I've done with my band Ragdoll, and it sounded fantastic. So we'll hear it at these settings. I'll kick in a little preamp boost in the amp block, and then we'll also hear it with the Horizon Precision Drive as well on there, which can sound pretty mega. So just some kind of E-standard thrash style stuff. That's a ridiculous amount of fun. I love that amp model so much. The final thing that we'll look at is the pitch block, which has been updated along with the tuner. There's a new pitch detection algorithm in there. And if you like using the virtual capo, I think you'll find this one tracks even better than it did before. Furthermore, the pitch tracking names have been changed, so you can easily figure out what you want to use them for. If you're playing chords, set it to chords. If you're playing single notes on here, set it to notes. You can adjust the tracking on there. I find the stock settings are pretty good on there. Let's just have a listen to, say, tuning this guitar down a whole step on here. One really fun trick you can do with a virtual capo is set the shift to an octave up, so set it to 12, but turn the mix down to around 20-25%, and you get a kind of faux 12-string style sound. Firmware 27 is available as a free update. I would highly encourage you, if you're using the editor, to just go to Tools and FractalBot, and you will be given a prompt in here to update your firmware. Alternatively, you can go to the Fractal Audio website and get the firmware file from there, download it, and then send it to your AXFX3 the usual way using FractalBot. Any other questions, let me know in the comments section below. I really hope you enjoy playing around with this firmware, and I'll put this preset in the video description if you want to try it for yourself. Otherwise, have a great week, and I'll see you then for another Tuesday Tone Tip.